Well, Eli Leonard, thanks for coming.
Oh, yes. Thanks for having me.
We're doing this during the solar eclipse.
Oh, okay. See, I just I knew that it was happening, but I didn't know it was today.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm behind in life on almost everything.
Seems that way.
I haven't passed the third grade. No, but I haven't been keeping up with almost anything. So if this is a current events show, I'm not going to be good.
No, I didn't know it was happening. Otherwise, we'd be out there with little glasses watching.
Yeah. Did it already happen?
It happens in 12 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So this is when we have to look right at it, right?
No, but you have to have glasses.
I know.
Otherwise, you got to project
glasses.
it. You can build a home box, but then it just projects like a shadow of it on the wall.
Right.
I'm like, we could just live stream it.
Yeah.
We could cut it in right here.
Yeah, we could cut in the eclipse. So
or we could do like a hot take clip where it's like Eli shits on the solar eclipse.
It's boring. It
is boring.
I thought it happened way fewer times than it does, because it happened when Trump was president, right? When he was looking right at it, everyone was like, "This man is a god. He can do the unthinkable.
He can do no wrong."
Yeah, no wrong, and his body is invincible. His corneas can take the greatest heat. But I thought they happened I thought it took like decades or maybe even millennia.
I think it happens a lot, but there's goes over the United States mostly this time. So it's like most of America, there's like a path.
Okay.
Can see it.
Yeah.
But not even LA. We don't get to see the full eclipse. We get a partial eclipse.
Okay.
Because it's a blue state that doesn't care about us.
Yeah, that's right.
But it seems like you've been doing well. Your show's good show business. This is its show business.
This is its show. Mine is good show biz.
Show biz.
Drop the nest.
The nest. Maybe that's a good note. I'll take that.
Yes, I have been doing that show at the Elysian Theater and
other places.
And other places. Yeah, I've been doing it. I started doing it at the Elysian, and then I started taking it across the country a bit. I did shows in Minneapolis and Chicago and Ann Arbor and Miami and New York. So I have been traveling with it.
That's big.
Yeah, it's been great. I didn't really know, I've just produced these shows on my own too. So I haven't been like, I don't have anyone doing that stuff for me.
What would they do?
Ideally, there would come a time when someone wanted me to be in their city.
Okay.
I'm sort of forcing myself onto the cities.
You're cold calling the cities.
Yeah, I'm cold calling a full city.
You're like, what's up, Portland, Maine?
Yeah. And usually, I'm like, do you want my show? And they're like, well, yeah, if you pay for the theater, of course.
Yeah.
And so that's what ends up happening. I just find a theater that I can afford.
Yeah, that's good showbiz.
Yeah, that's good showbiz. Yeah, I find one that I can afford.
Yeah.
And then I advertise it, and sometimes it sells tickets. But what would a manager do in this situation? I think they would just make all of those arrangements.
But you said manager, but before you said producer.
Right, a producer. I guess I think of them as the same for some reason.
Maybe. I think a show producer is going to be more involved with the production and making the show good, where a manager is probably going to do more of the calling and the general career advice.
Yeah, they do, but the manager also is a producer when it comes to movies. Your manager can be a producer.
Yeah, they can be. Movies. Yeah, it can be both. You're right.
So producer is it's a big umbrella, the producer.
It's a bad term.
It's a bad term, and I don't think that there are so many of them that produce.
No. There's a lot of no-show producers.
Yes, a lot of no-show producers. And that's something that happens in my show is my show is it's like a look and celebration of Jewish theater through the ages, Jewish comedy through the ages, from, Renaissance to vaudeville to stand-up. I don't know. So when I think of producer now, I'm like, I have a little bit of a different idea of what they are now that I have one that I like. But as soon as another one comes along, I hope that they don't do any work.
Right.
And just take the credit.
Otherwise, the whole premise goes away.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Or you could start the show now. Teddy gets half, and now the next producer gets half of the other half.
Yeah.
Your percentage just gets.
down. I lose money on my show.
Where does the money come in so you can lose it on the way out?
Well, ticket sales, I hope.
Oh, okay. So you don't lose totally lose money.
Well, I think net right now, I've done the show like 20 times over the last year and a half. And I think I'm net positive. But I think this coming show, it's going to change. Because I brought in a band. Like I'm bringing in like a klezmer orchestra band. And it's actually this guy, Gustavo Bulgac, who was in Wedding Crashers during the Jewish wedding scene. Like he like is the wedding band.
Oh, nice.
So I'm bringing in him and like his guys. And then I brought in a choreographer who I work with a lot. He's a director named John Gilkey. He's like a clown choreographer or clown director.
Yeah. He's a Legion.
Yeah, he's
regular.
He's a Legion Corps.
Yeah. Legion Corps. That's funny.
Yeah. But I brought him in to help me choreograph like an opening number. So
nice.
The expenses have accumulated for the show.
Yeah.
Since I got a producer.
But that means you're investing and you're making it better. Because if the second you're like, I'm going to coast, then it's going to start going down.
Yeah. And, luckily I've been able to now do that. But,
that's awesome.
So the show, I think the show's going well and I think it's getting better. And I'm very excited for this one on Thursday.
I'll be there. So
sweet.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's weird because there's so much energy in that right now for me. Like I'm like right in the thick of it.
Like how many hours per week getting ready and doing all that stuff is that show?
Right now, like for this show, it's been more than ever, and it's probably like I don't know, maybe 30 hours a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
but it's already the show's already done, right?
The show's done, but now I'm rehearsing like a brand new opening, and I'm rehearsing with the band for the first time
today at 2.
Yeah. But I'm doing these like I'm completely changing the opening and revamping the show.
Yeah.
And working with Teddy to the show completely is overhauled. There are the same like 3 structural components, but like within and without it, it's almost entirely brand new.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
it's like V2 or V3.
Yeah. 2.0.
2.0. Showbiz 2.0. Exactly.
Yeah. And then, other than that, it seems like everything means nothing, But,
what do you mean?
Just because, so I'll like do like auditions during the day. And I'm just like, all right, I just got to get this over with so I can get back to what I'm doing.
Oh, like they're just sidetracking you. You're like, maybe I can get that. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, doing stand-up shows is still always good. No matter what, stage time is good.
Yeah.
For me. But
and you don't need all day to prepare for that.
For stand-up?
Yeah.
No, I need okay. When I wake up and I know it's a stand-up show night, it sort of does start. The preparation does start because I'll just become like upset that like I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be at the show for a couple hours. Like doing the thing that I really want to do for 10 to 15 minutes.
Makes you upset.
But I get upset. And then I'm also like, what if they don't like what I do?
Yeah.
Like it starts immediately.
But you get upset on stage very frequently.
I can. I can.
So are you just preparing yourself to be upset later?
I guess maybe it's just I'm trying to escalate into my stage self.
Your stand-up method.
You're
just like, I'm going to be angry because I need to be angry.
Yeah. Now I'm not angry. Because we would do mics together when I was like very green at stand-up.
Yeah.
And so I definitely used being angry as a crutch for in place of jokes.
Right.
And now I still don't have jokes.
Right.
But I'm not as angry about it.
Okay, so your act is worse now.
Yeah, my act is actually much worse. Yeah. I have taken many steps back over the past year and a half.
Haven't we all?
Yeah. I'm degrading.
Yeah. You were the first person I ever heard talk about clown. Because like around that time, you're like, I'm going to France to study as a clown. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and now you see it's sort of blown up. Huh?
It has blown up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was one of the late adopters of it. You know, I was early for like this new wave, but I was one of the late adopters overall in LA. Like this idiot workshop that directed by John Gilkey has been going on for like 10 years, you know, and it has like produced some really great clowns, and like, you know, Chad Damiani and Natalie Palomides and like, and they've all they've gone to Gilkey at some point, you know, they've worked with him, and now it's like the next generation is teaching the newer generation, and now everyone sort of wants to get into it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool to see, and it's cool to have come into stand-up from clown and see now stand-ups going into clown because of what they see, or like, you know, because they were interested in this thing that I was doing, or interested in, you know, getting chops and not having to do improv.
Right.
know?
Getting like some stage know-how without doing.
Yeah.
But it's also like stand-up, when you get into it, kind of spits people out into the system. It's like, all right, you did mics, you learned some jokes, all right, you're out there trying to get shows.
Right.
But clown doesn't do that.
No.
It just is like you learn some clown
forever.
and then you just like, there's nowhere to go. It's not spitting out a bunch of clowns.
No, it's not.
Which is very interesting.
It's really not. Like, so the arc of the clown is more, well, it's at least the LA clowns. It's, I don't mean this fully, it's not everyone, it's just a generalization, but a lot of clowns will spend time, and a lot of it, in workshops, you know, and they pay for them, and they have to show up every week, and you know, it's ongoing for like a year or two, sometimes 3, you know, and we'll be in classes until we are ready to get on stage with something. And some people are able to do it right away and, you know, move to the stage and start taking bits to open mics, or taking bits to, you know, clown shows. But a lot of time people will stay in this incubator and not move outwards, and not like put themselves into the other communities.
Yeah,
so
just like the slotted mics though.
Yeah. So it is like that, but I think one of the differences is, if you're sort of a clown, you're gonna try and build a show at some point.
Yeah, like a one-person show or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like your first thing is so ambitious, because it's like you want to have like 30 minutes to an hour of like your numbers that you've like tried in front of essentially just other clowns.
Students. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like saying like, it's like leaving USC with a directing degree and your next lift is like a feature.
A feature. Yeah, exactly. You know, so there's, you know, there are a good amount of clown shows that have acts, you know, just like a stand-up show does, just has a bunch of acts, but they're much fewer and further between than stand-up shows.
Yeah. That's interesting. Do you think it's because clown can't really, I talked to Chad about this, like it's hard to capture it on the phone or for little clips versus stand-up, it feels like
really
there's nowhere to go with it. And that lift is so big, like I have to do like a stage production of my thing. I can't like get better at it slowly or build an audience. Like a lot of clowns are so good, but their audience is way smaller than stand-ups on average.
Right. And honestly, I think there's a few parts to an answer to that in my opinion. So one is that the form itself is so reliant on what is happening in the room.
Yeah.
In the audience, at the theater right in front of you. It's like all about presence and taking in what is actually happening. Like there's no fourth wall in clown. I mean, there is for some, you know, for like a routine, a lot of times there will be, you know, a lot of them can be very rehearsed. In LA, it's not such, I don't know, we don't take it, the stagecraft so seriously, I think, unfortunately, but...
That's LA as a whole.
Yeah.
The rigor in LA is like, we're not going to try.
That's right. Yeah. But that's one thing. So it becomes harder to put something out that people will understand if they weren't there. Like you had to be there. like a lot of clown shows you had to be there.
Yeah.
You know, like
But that's what stand-up used to be.
Yeah, but and that was before. I think that was before, you know, social media probably, and all the legendary stories you hear. I don't think if there was a reel of, you know, someone, you know, like, I don't know. One story that always comes to mind for me is like Larry David showing up at one of the clubs and then seeing the crowd and going, "Oh, no, I'm not doing this."
Yeah.
That wouldn't go viral.
No.
Like that doesn't count.
Right.
Like you like show up to the mic and you get off stage. Like that's not gonna be intriguing to anyone except for the people who are there.
Right.
And I think a lot of clown is like only gonna be great for the people right in front of it. And so it has been hard to like get into the digital visual medium without like a great production.
Right.
And then another part would be that I think the community, the people who are drawn to clown, or at least had been for a while, are artists, sort of artists first, or trying to explore something rather than to get themselves out there and like move up. Like I think that the clown really doesn't move up.
They move up into teaching clown.
Well, they can, I guess. I guess in a business sense, they can move up that way.
Right. Yeah.
But the reason for doing clown is not like to move up in clown. Like it's really to become a great performer.
Right.
Like
But that's moving up.
It is. It's leveling up your like your own instrument, but it's not like getting views.
Right.
You know, like
it's like becoming a better learning the craft of acting better.
Yeah.
But not acting doesn't really rely on views either.
Yeah, acting relies on I almost at this point who your family is. You know.
Or luck or circumstance or like.
Yeah. There's definitely that too. But once you get an acting gig, you get all of them. I think. Yeah. You know, like.
You had an acting gig on Curb.
I had one.
Did you get all of them?
No. I mean a big one. You know, like something you sink your teeth into. You know, if your show is a hit, you get put in everything. Yeah. Like that's just how it's been going.
Or your show becomes a hit, and then you like turn it into a sitcom, or take your next idea and put it into something that fits the traditional mold. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been really frustrating for a lot of rising comedians to jump into the acting game because there are so few jobs that are even being considered for people outside of who's already in Hollywood.
Well, it's kind of like I could name like every great stand-up that's working right now, and most of them never really got auditions, never really landed anything.
Yeah,
that way.
I think that's wild. Yeah, I really do.
And some do, like, you know, I think Asif Ali has a new show, and like sometimes I see like Ron G in commercials, and like I see people around, but like it's like a small percentage of people.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's almost like a wholly different skill set, and they don't like pick stand-ups, it seems, and be like, they're kind of like worried. They're like, oh, you're gonna say something crazy, so why take that risk of having you be the Verizon person?
Oh, right.
Or, you know,
right. Yeah, that is interesting.
Because that's like a big, like you become like Natalie's actually the
progressive. Yeah.
So fun. I was at the gym and I saw her. I was like, oh, Natalie could do this. I'm like, that person's just like Natalie. And then I was hanging out and I was like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm the progressive girl. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's her. Yeah. 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 I mean, her and Bill O'Neill, you know, he's the Wendy's guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are definitely some commercial clowns.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking movies, you know, I'm thinking, you know, like, these roles that
Rory Scovel.
Yeah, he's doing great right now. Yeah. I mean, I'm so excited for him. Yeah. And I'm like happy at all this because I have loved Rory's stuff like since the first time I saw it, and
I don't think anyone doesn't love him.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. You're supposed to not. I guess maybe his stuff hasn't reached the people who wouldn't like it.
I don't know if they exist, to be honest.
Really, you think, you know?
I mean, you won't dislike him. Like he's loved by stand-ups. He's loved by non-stand-ups. Like, you know, it's just he's very widely liked.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a really nice guy too.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so funny and so present. Him and Chad together, have you seen that show?
I have, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been cool to see them work together too, because Chad brings in some pretty great people to like become a part of this thing that we have.
Yeah.
This little clown.
Are you in the group with Chad? Like, are you guys close?
No, I'm not really in Chad's sphere so much. Like, I've done his stand-up and clown show like a few times.
Who'd you do it with?
I did it with No That's Okay. I'm in like a sketch group.
Okay.
We would always do it like as a group, you know.
Oh,
so
nice.
we'd have, like, it'd be like, yeah, we would be either the clown group that like knew how to do it, you know. It's like, now show them how it's done, and we like do something with much less dignity than anyone else, or you know, it's a night of pretty much like all clown people, and you know, we're just one of the idiots,
right?
One of the idiot groups.
How do you find time to do the clown, the stand-up, the show, the improv, and the auditions?
Well, it's not hard to find the time because it's it's not like I get so much work, you know, like,
okay.
I'm putting in my own hours a lot of the time, but it's been hard to organize my life in a way where I can get everything done and just even remember what I have to do, because it is like sporadic, and it's like, so I've forgotten to do a few auditions because it just passed. Like, I don't know what I have to do every day. So in this way, it would be good to have a manager and an assistant.
Like do your calendar.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it is a lot of work, even if it doesn't turn into anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the most work is for something. Usually the most work is for stuff that's not turning into stuff.
Right.
Like, it's all about sort of building the overall either lore of your, you know, the building yourself. It's all building your own technique. Like, so I make time for that, and I have time for that all the time. You know,
are you at home like working on your technique?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Like, so when I do this bottle dance from Fiddler on the Roof in my show, where I balance a wine bottle on a hat, and you know, I was just sitting down on the couch. Like, if I was watching TV, I would just be, you know, moving my head, making little adjustments, you know, and
like keeping the bottle up.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So like at this point, like I'm very good at it, so I don't have to worry about it in my show.
And now your Netflix account is a business expense. So.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it always was.
Yeah. And then, like, I know this is going to sound weird, but a lot of it is also like making body shapes. Like, I have to like look in the mirror and like play and figure out what looks funny. Like what type of body shape is going to look good with a certain bit, or like with a certain face that I'm going to make, and then also the faces that I need to make, you know, like,
well, I mean, I think it's another Seinfeld quote, but it's like, stand up, you have to analyze every bit about yourself, the way you move, the way you talk, the way you look, like, and it's all part of it. Mm-hmm. And I think clowns have the advantage there because they're used to analyzing the physicality element.
Yes.
A lot of stand-ups just be like, this is what I do, and they don't usually stop to be like, is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's right. And because it's usually not.
Or that maybe they just haven't, it's working, and they're just like, all right, I hold the mic two-handed, or I do this, or I stay in one spot.
And so when I came into stand-up, I thought that people who were like worried about that were so simple. Like, I thought that their brains were not working, because I was like, what, if you hold the mic a different way, everything's going to change? Like, you're worried about how you held the mic that time? Like, it's how you performed it. And now
but that's part of performance. Yeah.
But now I see that that's like, you know, that it's not that simple.
It's not a technical instrument. It's a prop.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Yeah.
You could lapel everyone, but it feels, it's part of the, like, it's like a little lightsaber.
You can really emphasize with the microphone.
Yeah.
Like, not just the volume, but like
Yeah.
You can do things with it that make it. But sometimes if it's like, well, if I just held it like with both hands on the microphone stand, everything would be different. And I don't know, maybe it would. Maybe they find that it does.
But that could be a powerful choice too.
Yeah.
Like when you take it out, sometimes you start with it. So like it's like this little mini. You have less tools as a stand-up, but you have to analyze them more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Because it's like the magnifying glass is so much like more focused.
It's just on it's just you.
Yeah.
And I came into clown being like very vocal. So like, and I came into stand-up from clown being very physical. But I don't think that I'm I don't think I'm the most physical clown, and I don't think I'm the most verbal stand-up, or the most, I guess,
physical stand-up.
Or no, sorry, I think what that has done has made it so I'm not a very physical clown compared to the very physical clowns, and I'm not a verbal stand-up. Like I'm not, I guess didactic. Like I'm not like, I don't say so many words when I'm on stage. Like I really work in the silence, but I'm not like, so I'm not really like on the high edges of either art form, like I'm just sort of my own thing combining the two, like I don't, I'm really, I don't think someone's going to be like, Eli tells like so many great jokes up there. It's just...
Is that what you want?
At some point, I'd like to have a lot of good jokes, but
What does Eli do up there right now?
I mean, so it also depends on the show. So I opened for Elon Gold, who's a stand-up who's been around for quite some time, and so when I work for him, he's working like Jewish rooms, and it's very difficult to get a laugh in a Jewish room. Like it's so hard. It's like pulling teeth. And so when I work with him, he always gets me, he's like, make sure that I tell jokes at the top, like 2 or 3 just boom, boom, boom jokes, just so that they know that I'm a comedian.
Right.
They understand that I'm there to tell jokes. And then I can do more experimental stuff, or like I can say anything else other than my set. But, if I'm doing a show otherwise, I really like to comment on what's happening in the room. Like I do prefer to make it grounded right here, right now. Yeah. And blow a room up like that.
That's usually how I've seen you. You come in, something goes immediately wrong, and then you've made that funny for 12 minutes so. Yeah.
Yeah. I can, but when I started doing that with stand-up, because I didn't have anything. I didn't have any material at all. Yeah. So now I have some jokes.
But imagine you with material, because a lot of people just can't be funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not doing like, so what do? You're not doing the classic crowd work. Right. But it's a version of like being present. And things are happening.
For sure.
It's very Rory Scovel-ish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, I love that guy. Yeah. I would want to be just like, I want to be just like him when I grow up.
Yeah. I saw you posted this thing about writing on Curb, and I couldn't tell if you were being serious or not.
Which part?
These, like, I submitted a packet, and they took the joke for the one where he's
the masseuse.
The masseuse.
Yeah. Is that it? Yeah, it's my bit.
Okay, that's awesome. I just watched that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's the penultimate episode. Yeah,
okay, nice. Sweet. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I worked on Curb for seasons 9 and 10. And then I was just Larry David's like lunch boy, like his errand boy.
Like, go get me coffee, go get me.
Yeah, him and his associate producer or co-producer, now co-executive producer, Laura Stryker. So it was just working for the two of them. It was working for her and him, So it was like I was like a second assistant basically. Yeah. And then after a couple of months, Larry, took to me a bit. Or like, I don't know, knew that I was funny, because I would make jokes, because he would laugh at what I'd say. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how to say it with him. It's weird because
right. You made him laugh.
Yeah, I made him laugh.
That's enough.
I guess I did.
Yeah. That's probably not
That's not nothing.
Yeah, that's a bar.
Yeah. And then he was like, if you have any ideas for the show, submit them, and if we like them, we'll pay you for them. And then so seasons 10, 11, and 12, I was submitting packets. You know,
Yeah.
just the first time I was doing it, I was in the office as an assistant, and I was separately, you know, submitting packets.
Right. Yeah.
And then seasons 11 and 12, I was doing it, you know, remote. And I would go in like once every few packets that I would submit and be like, I really like this one, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's...
And it's basically just like, are you writing premises basically?
Yeah. It's like premises that they can expand. Like the one that they gave me that they were like, we want classic curb pitches.
Yeah.
The one that they said was like, Larry hires a prostitute to get to go through the carpool lane.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what we want. We want that type of premise, just a clean, you know.
It's already funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't like, then now you're just like playing with house money.
Yeah. And over the years, so many people reach out to me with curb premises. They're like, can I pitch you something? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to say no. Like, sure, whatever. And they'll pitch me like a page of words, and I'll just be like, holy shit. Like,
You don't get it.
No, just like, this isn't what, I wish you knew what it was.
Yeah.
I wish you could know that if that's what you think it is, you need to take out every idea in there and make it one single idea. Like, make it a story. It's not, you don't get to like choose the weave of every episode when you're submitting a packet.
Right.
You have to like be one part of the weave.
Yeah.
You know, like, because the story always ends where the weave ties together. It's like 6 stories that all come together at once.
Right.
You know, or like, you know, over 2 different crescendos at the end. And then the music at the end. You know, so then...
your pitch is like when you're scrolling on HBO Max and it says what the episode's about.
Yeah.
That's what you're pitching.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the episode 9 from season 12. Is that it? That it was the description.
Yeah.
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 It was the episode description. So that, you know, that was kind of cool.
I wasn't sure because at the end you're like, and then the final joke, because you did a little video about this, and then the final joke is when you zoom in and it wasn't written by you. So I wasn't sure if you where in reality we were.
No, it's that the big joke is, you know, I don't get credit. You know, I get money, not credit.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, that's just the agreement that everyone takes when they're doing those packets.
Right. But like, had this show gone on for several more years and you become a staff, like there's like a way you move up.
No, there's no way. I mean, there are only 2 writers. There were only ever 2 writers. It's just Larry, David, and Jeff Schaefer, the executive producer, who was one of the Seinfeld writers. Yeah. Part of the Berg, Schaefer, Mandel, you know, the great team, you know, the great writing team, the legendary writing team. And it's just the 2 of them in the room, you know. So when I was working there, I was working in that office where the 2 of them would work, you know, and then I would just be like on the outside of it, listening to how it's getting made, and that was great. But it's just the 2 of them, and then every once in a while there would be like a consulting producer. When I was there, it was John Heyman and Carol Leifer. Carol's a great stand-up.
Very funny, yeah.
Yeah, and she was she worked on Seinfeld, and John Heyman worked on Seinfeld too. So you know, it's like they're sort of older legendary buddies. You know, get the cushy, you know, director's chair on set gigs. Yeah. And then sometimes they'll have someone who submitted something will get to we'll get the story by. Yeah. But the only people that have that since I started doing it who have been like Justin Hurwitz, who's like an Oscar-winning, you know, La La Land, you know, like he worked
He's a composer.
Yeah.
He got a writing credit?
Yeah, he worked on the Lin-Manuel Miranda part of season 9. And
really?
Yeah, and he was like, you know, so he was one of the writers. So, you know,
but like the script writer?
Yeah, he was one. He submitted pitches, and so
wow, multi-talented guy.
Yeah, so since he's already like since he already is so esteemed, he got the credit, you know. And then there's another guy, I think Nathaniel Stein, who's already, you know, he has, I don't know, some people get it, some people don't, but it's very few get the credit, very few. I think it's only been 2 or 3. Wow. Since I worked there, and they had already been like very established people. So to take me from just being in their office to story by, they just didn't do that. Like they wouldn't do that for people who had TV credits either.
Okay.
You know?
I would see on Seinfeld, like people would go from like story by
that
to
would
blah,
happen.
blah, to blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
To then there's like the final step felt like executive producer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would happen. You know,
Yeah.
writer's assistant. It was a pipeline. Writer's
Right.
assistant to
Yeah,
story
yeah.
editor to writer, and then
Yeah. And they're not like correlated with how much writing you did. It's more, they're just kind of like tenure based advancements.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, getting the executive producer, then you're like one of the showrunners. Yeah, then you're then you're the big one.
Then you're
know?
big dog, yeah.
But yeah, Curb just wasn't like that.
Yeah. But it's invaluable experience to
Totally.
like, and invaluable network.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird because I don't really network with Larry David. You know, sometimes I'll text him and I won't get anything back. You know,
Yeah, but not Larry David. Like
but
just
all of them.
all of this, like how many
Yes.
people work on the show? 100?
Yeah,
200? Like
yeah.
you have like seen all this interface and you know, like you're kind of like in a circle.
The experience was so incredibly invaluable.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're actually physically in it as, as a role, like
Yeah.
pinning.
Yeah, I'm putting a pin on it. Yeah.
So it's all, and now I saw Noah, I don't know what his last name's escaping me, but he was just on Curb as like the hotel guy. He's a stand-up. Noah Kopfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I know him outside of
Stand-up?
stand-ups.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
I don't think I know him as a stand-up, so I don't know which one he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I feel like a lot of people got roles this last season
Yeah,
too.
lots
Like
of
Conan's in there, and Mo Mandel's in there.
yeah, a lot of people did this year.
Yeah.
It was good. Like last year was very reliant on cameos, I think, and this year I think they sort of went back to casting.
Oh yeah,
You
just
know?
like going through a cast. I mean, most of Hollywood is casting because like that's how you get the roles, and like sometimes good films are cast well.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a film that's good or a show that's good that has a bad cast.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Is there a good movie with a bad cast?
No. Even directors and writers, they'll be like, yeah, like, and the cast, like if you have the right actor in the role, like that's just so much of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it feels like this thing like off to the side, like kind of like ancillary, like from afar. But when you're in it, it's like, it's so important.
Yeah, and the shows and the movies that do so well, I think break stars. You know, they're the ones making headway in creating and in finding people who are otherwise unfound or have very few credits to their name.
Yeah.
Or have not been in the scene for a while. And I think that in the studio system right now, that's just being disregarded because it's, they don't want to take any risks.
Well, management's dying. Like management as a profession, especially managing stand-ups, is like the money's kind of going away. So it's like people are getting out of the business. They're getting out of music management's kind of dying. So a lot of management, they're not like getting excited about stars because it takes so long to see money on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
like it's so far before you make money now. It's like the S curve is just so steep.
Yeah, I mean, and now with stand-up and live performance, like it really is about doing your own live show. Like if you can tour your own thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a show where I can make a ton of money everywhere, but like, there are people who take their show on the road if they have like a big podcast and a Patreon or everything, like they make a good living.
Oh, totally.
Like a really good living. And they would only bring a manager on if they didn't want to do that work. They
need some admin help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're all building our own audience or starting our one person show.
Yeah.
We're all Emma Stone from La La Land.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, that I do like that movie. I think to make it seem like that barista job was bad is just not authentic. The barista job she had on the lot, people would kill for that job. Her life is so hard the life of a barista can be hard at a studio because you're always trying to get looked at. But so many people would want the barista job, the Universal Studios barista job.
It was a nice twist though when it came around, and then she becomes the star, comes to the barista and gives the big tip. Yeah. So it was a cute moment.
Nice.
Yeah. I like La La Land. I don't know why people hate on it so much.
It's just because the Moonlight thing.
I
think.
Maybe, I don't know. I think
white
it's
people
both.
saving jazz.
That's kind of weird.
It could be that. Could be white people saving jazz.
Yeah, but it was such a good romantic story. It was the music was great. Like perfect cast. Like those two together. Like that's all you need.
I love that movie.
I don't know how well you know it, but like that pool scene when they're talking to this guy who's like a writer. He's like, yeah, I'm just like, the studio's really interested in me. Like, I'm a world builder. And she's just like, excuse me, and like walks away from this guy. And he's like, where are you going? It's just like, just the constant bragging you hear in this town that was just kind of like, oh, stop.
Yes. It's so painful to be around. And I never know when to do it, when I need to do it.
You don't need to do it.
I know, but
your work speaks for itself.
But people are like, well, like I'll have like working on Curb was so cool for my friends too, because now they get to know someone who works on Curb, and so whenever I would go somewhere,
like for
new,
anyone who knows you, or like, do you have friends in mind?
I have some specific friends in mind, but wherever I would go with them,
do they rhyme with Josh Edelman or?
Oh, well. I met him more recently, so now yes.
Okay.
But to be like outed as that, like I get somewhere new with a few specific people, and we'll be talking to someone, and they're like, and Eli wrote for, and I'm like, just leave me alone. Yeah. Like, I don't need to have my resume listed off in front of a new person.
Isn't that's so much better than like, hey, I wrote on Curb.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
You don't like it?
It makes me more uncomfortable to do it myself too. Yeah, I don't want to.
Well, doing it yourself is horrendous.
It's horrible.
But that you have someone else big you up, that's always great. And you're like, oh, stop. No, I was just, and then you're like,
no, because I'm like, no, actually, stop. Like, like, don't do this. Like, please don't do this. Because then it just becomes like, oh my God, how is that? What's he like? And it's just like, it's the same few questions, and then
right.
I just, if I'm talking about it, if someone gets to know me and I get to talk about it, then it can be okay.
Yeah.
Then it can be like inspiring a little bit.
Right.
But just bringing it out when I don't want,
Yeah, it's like a new person, and you have to lead with that.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes it's like, if things aren't going well, this is when it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. If things aren't going well with a person, and then someone might step in and say it unprompted.
Yeah, right.
But
chicken wing.
and then they're like, oh my God, really? And I'm like, yeah, fuck off.
And
it wasn't going well. Yeah, it wasn't going well between us.
That's a good premise.
Yeah. You didn't know until you learned that I worked on Curb. You wouldn't give me the time of day. Now all of a sudden, you think I don't see that?
Yeah. The turn.
Yeah.
And then you leave.
Yeah. I see it so clearly and a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still sucks, but like people are like trying to like look over you to be like, where can I get?
Yes.
And I don't like that.
Yes.
People do it to me all the time.
It's always the look over.
Yeah.
It's rampant.
Some stand-up, I forgot his name, but he's like, they're trying to monkey bar off you. I'm like, that's such a great term.
Yeah. Yeah. Just back. And it's weird. That is a good analogy.
Yeah. Are you doing yourself a disservice though? Because like I think in my mind, like you have so much going for you.
I am
except
doing myself
for
a disservice.
except for your awareness.
Yes, I think that's true.
Yeah,
I don't put things out on social media.
Yeah, and I'm talking as another person who's also bad at it.
Yeah. It's like I don't put things out, and then when I have an opportunity, I just go. Like after shows, people hang out after shows. I go right away.
I leave immediately.
Right away.
Yeah. I left Bar Lubitsch on Friday immediately.
Yeah, what is it?
I just can no longer be there.
I don't have a family. You have a family. At least you have something.
Yeah, but I'm already out of the house. Everyone's sleeping. I could stay.
Yeah, okay.
And whenever I do stay, I was
you can say, my fam. I'm just going to go be home.
Yeah, I can.
There's a reason for me to be home.
There's a reason.
See, I don't have a reason.
Yeah.
I got no reason.
I feel two ways about this. Then you see like greats, like you see like Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Never hangs out. Huge.
Oh, really?
Like just putting in the work. So you're like, I think the hanging out only gets you so far.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think the work is so much better.
But I think the hanging out gets you a lot in the meantime.
In the meantime.
I think it does. I think it gets you a lot of stage time. The same people get booked on shows because they are so personable and fun to be around.
Yeah.
And they ask the right questions to the right people all the time. And you just see their names on lineups, and it's just like, wow, them again, huh?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the same 4, 5, 6 people on the same 6, 7 shows. It's all sort of a cluster of of the Bookables.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
Bookables.
Yeah,
That's funny.
The Bookables are
That'd be
all
a fun name for a show. The Bookables.
The Bookables. Yeah, there's people who are I could book
And then we
them.
have the in the smaller room we have the Unbookables.
Unbookables. Yeah. Oh wow, the Unbookables. Yeah, but I think in the meantime it does get you a lot. But I think you're right. It doesn't. It does. It's
It plateaus early.
Yes, it's no substitute for the work. No substitute at all.
Yeah.
But as an additional tool, it can't hurt.
So if you're putting in the work and hanging out and
Yeah, those people I don't.
yeah,
That seems. I'm a little envious of that ability.
yeah. Who was the butler in Batman? The one that Christopher Nolan did.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Yeah. Read his biography and it's great. And he has this moment. He's like, how did I get far ahead? He's like, I hung out. I was great to be around, but I never asked for anything. So he was like, he could hang out because he's like, I was a B actor, but I was never an A. But like A's would hang out with me because I would not ask the A's for anything. He's like, A's hang out with other A's because they don't ask for stuff, and like cool B's who are like not just around.
Right.
And I think I really tried to take that note.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
want to be a cool B.
yeah, I want to be a cool B. I don't want to be asking for people. I don't want to be walking in, because we all have those people we know who walk in the room like, fuck, this guy's going to ask me for something.
Yes.
And you don't want to be that guy.
Totally.
Or girl or person.
Totally. Yeah, it's that's so fun. I want to be a cool B.
Cool B.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to be a Michael. Yeah. I mean,
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be Michael Caine?
Yeah, but he's very tall, right?
You think
he
tall
tall?
in this house?
Yeah. See, I'm not so short.
Wait, you 5'11"?
No, I'm 5'8".
You're not 5'8".
I'm 5'8", and then I have the hair.
That helps though.
It makes me look a little taller. Yeah,
When I hugged you earlier, I was like, oh, you're tall.
I'm really not.
Okay.
But I always think about this. Like the people who look like me who get roles, they're all taller. No one's doing this at my height.
I don't know. Tall people look weird on camera.
Sometimes, there are the Elijah Wood, Radcliffe.
I don't know. How are they shorter?
There's a lot of stars who are short.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, a lot of short stars. But when you look like me, I think you got to be tall. I don't know what it is.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You have a look.
I do have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking maybe chin filler.
What is that?
Just get more of like
More of a chin?
a Jay Leno Quagmire thing going.
Okay.
Yeah. But back to the sort of the Michael Caine thing.
Yeah.
I do. It is really interesting to think about like the people, because I've been doing this now like 10 years, like comedy as a whole, or 9 years. And I've seen a lot of people like rise a bit.
Yeah.
I've seen
so many people rise in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Since pandemic ended too. Yeah. I mean, people are getting work. It's nice to see. And like a lot of commercials. So it used to be like, oh, I used to be in an improv class with everyone who's on commercials now.
Yeah.
And then now to see some people sort of like take off just like one more level, they have like a little show that gets picked up to pilot, and it is cool to see that. And I see a lot of people who are so upset that they're not in that thing, because they were friends with that person.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I think of it like I want to have a show at some point, of course. And I'm worried that the people who I'm closest with like aren't going to get to be a part of it. Like that there's, that I didn't write something specifically for them, so they weren't right to be casted. Like if I don't have them in mind while I'm writing it, then I don't know that it's going to be for them, like.
But that's okay. Like,
it is.
Like you have to project yourself 5-10 years in the future and be like, I want this to be the best it is. Do you think like?
No, it's got to be the best.
I don't think Seinfeld show they cast, as they did have their friends in the show in small parts, but they didn't build the show around their friends.
No, I mean
they've got the best people for the job.
Yeah, I mean I think Michael Richards was the only one who they like knew that he would be great for Kramer.
Yeah, and they knew Elaine. I think I heard a story. Larry kind of knew Elaine from Saturday Night Live, or like they knew of these people, but they didn't put in like their BFFs.
No,
and nor should you. You can't tell your friend to take direction, or like it's horrible.
Yeah,
you can't fire your friend.
Yeah, it does seem impossible.
Yeah,
and I'm worrying about huge problems way down the line that are just like diluted. It's delusional to think I'm going to have this whatever this show is.
Yeah.
But
but you're not like, you were prompted. You saw it happen to your friends who are like, and now you're like, oh shit, like how am I going to deal with that?
Yeah, like, oh crap, like I don't.
And they're not really your friends, to be honest. Like your friends are there, like who your friends are when there's nothing for them to ask you for, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, it's always nice. Like,
yeah,
you know, if I get a huge something and I put you in it, you'd be like, that was nice.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But like, you know,
I mean, I think that would, if anything, that just would make us closer because
Yeah.
we worked on something together. You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's what it could do. Is once you meet on something, it's like, oh yeah, now I love that person because I spent all this time.
Yes,
with them, you know?
exactly. That's
It's
a great way to look at it.
So great to like
Yeah.
have the opportunity, the chance to like be with someone so almost like so intimately where we're putting ourselves
yeah.
on camera. You know, we're doing work together. And it's not like, you know, spreadsheets. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Or you work together and you hate them more. And then you're like, never talk to them again.
yeah. I've had a few of those. Yeah.
Everyone has.
It's hard to like
Yeah.
be like, you know what, and you're a friend, and I want to see if we could work on something together.
Yeah. But I feel like we all have a good instinct. Like you kind of know who you'd have a good. Like I know I have a feeling of who's going to be a good podcast guest or who would be good on a show or who's going to like. You just kind of like, I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And sometimes it doesn't, but for the general, you're like, I can tolerate working with this person.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Tolerability. That's
Yeah.
It's almost like that's as good as hanging out, just being tolerable.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't. It's the Judd Apatow thing. He's like, don't be a room killer. Like
Right.
more than anything, more than your writing. Like if you could be the best writer in the world, you walk in the room and the room just energy goes down, or you're just like you bring the whole thing down. Like that's it. You're out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I worked for a guy like that. You know,
Yeah.
he was I heard on the street, you know, that they'd call him a joke goalie. You know, it was all about his joke getting on, and no
That's
matter
so
what,
funny.
funny jokes would never pass him. You know, all these great jokes, and man, was he a great goalie. You know,
I worked with that joke goalie. That's so funny.
yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I think Matt Hurwitz came up with that maybe, and he like coined the term maybe, or that's where I heard it.
Yeah.
But it's so accurate to what this guy was doing, and it's like you just know that if you're gonna pitch something, it's not going in.
Yeah.
So you just know that you're just there to hold their hand while they
Discover what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that sometimes you're employed for that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's always a thing, and it's less so nowadays. But when I was in music, like there would be a lot of more top-down ideas. Be like, this is gonna be the coolest thing, and sometimes your job is to say no, and sometimes your job is to be like, all right, I have to make this bad idea good.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here for today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually really do like to do that work.
Yeah.
Making a bad idea good. Like
Yeah.
Especially as an actor, I like to do that.
And you'll get more work if you take that approach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you're comfortable with yourself in doing it,
Yeah.
and you like put truly everything into it, then you'll find something funny or like good anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you really like buy into what it is.
Or just like try to go down the path with them
Yes.
and get them to the point where they realize it's not good, or
Yes.
you've gone as far as you can.
Or push them so far that it's like, and look at how much further it could go if you let it, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's fun too. But,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, that type. Wait, when did you work in music?
Like what years, or like what did I do?
Yeah,
or-
what'd you do?
I was
Yeah.
like an engineer, mixer, producer, songwriter. Like I did everything.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You have music. You
Yeah.
have music out.
What do you mean?
I can listen to it.
Like stuff that I've worked with, like not me as the artist.
Okay.
Yeah, just like me working with different bands and
Oh,
like
sweet.
different hip hop artists.
So
and
you were
stuff.
behind the panel.
Yeah, I would make things sound good. I'd be like one more time. Like,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
most. I think the last few things I worked on with like Kelly Rowland, Mary J. Blige.
Whoa, R&B.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow,
So,
I love Mary J. Blige.
yeah, she's really cool.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid.
One of the hardest moments of my life was being like, she was like, "How was that?" I was like, "One more time."
Oh, Mary J. Oh God.
But it's like it's kind of like that Caesar the dog walker skit. Like you have to show you have to show
Yeah, no
dominance.
mercy. Yeah.
You can't like, there's no, like if you want to work on that level, it's like, there's no fanning out. There's nothing. You're
Right.
just like, hey, what's up? And you're just like immediately on the same, like
Yeah.
your coworkers.
Yeah.
So there's like a trust you build with like,
And yeah. I bet that's I don't know. I mean, it's so weird to think like, yeah, there's probably so many people with attitudes, you know, but
The people at the top don't have attitudes.
Yeah, right?
It's the middle.
Yeah.
Every artist I work with in
I'm
the
not going to do that again.
the middle people have like, and look, I had certain other artists be like, no, it's fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But like generally the diva syndrome's not at the top. The divas are divas like in the cool way because they're like iconic.
Yes.
But the real divas that you don't want to work with are usually just in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't broken through.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I haven't directed really anything, but I'm like, when I do sort of direct, like even just like little sketch stuff.
Yeah.
Usually when someone lays something down for me, like a take, I'm just like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Like you did it. Like for my vision.
That's so funny.
For my vision, that's good.
You did it.
Yeah.
This would be a great character. You did it. That's good.
Yeah.
And you're moving on. You're like,
you did it. That's good. Yeah.
But like, what are you going to say? Like,
yeah, what? Do it. Like, if I'm working with someone on a self-tape for them, or like, or they're helping me with my self-tape or something, or we're doing like a sketch for the internet, and they're like, well, how'd I do it? I'm like, you did great.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know. I don't know what this thing is. Do you want me to, how far do you want me to dive deep into it?
Yeah.
Go to acting class. I don't care. Like, it's not like, I don't actually have the right, like, I don't have the right mind to be like, and this is what the casting director is going to want, and this is what people are going to want to click on.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know how I would have done it. I'm not going to tell you to do it how I would do it.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. So
that was
funny.
great.
It's like George Lucas's note when he was like for Star Wars. It was always, how was that? Faster, more intensity. And you're just like, and that's kind of enough. You're like, okay. Or like, yeah, you just need like a little bit. Sometimes performers look at you though for a little bit of direction just because they don't really know where it is.
Yes.
You know? And that's your job too.
Yeah. I mean, I love to be directed. Like, because I love working with, I love the collaboration of that.
What if halfway through good showbiz, you also hired a director and then the show goes off the rails and they can take it to wherever they want?
That'd be sweet. I have,
but it's a plant and it's Chad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's always Chad's always the one who comes in. Yeah.
I saw a magic show recently in Vegas and I was like, these have to be plants. There's no way.
Oh, like have we ever met before? Type
I'm like, they're just so perfectly cast. Like the Asian school teacher, the like guy with the turp, like it was like a Benetton, like, whoa. And I'm like, there's no way.
And it was their first choice every time. Like they were like, you, sir.
No, it was just they were so good at it. Mm-hmm. Like they brought them on stage and they fell in a trance and they read the numbers and they communicate. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Yeah. But
I never, mad illusionists and mind fuckers.
Yeah, like, we draw the line there.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but let's draw the line here. This was great. I know you got a rehearsal to do. Thanks for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having
me. I really
me,
appreciate you. I feel like we could go on for another hour easy.
Definitely.
And we'll do it again.
Yeah,
so
sweet.
Tell people your socials and your show.
I'm at self_Eli.
Nice.
Like a selfie.
Selfie-Eli. Yeah.
On Instagram. Good
Showbiz Thursday.
Good Showbiz this Thursday at the Elysian, 9:30 p.m. That's April 11th.
And more dates coming soon.
Thank you.